first down. They hand off to Marlon Mack. Huge hole, 50-yard line. He's at the 40, still going near sideline. He's at the 10. He's at the 5, and he will score. Touchdown, Marlon Mack. Touchdown, INDY. And again, it's picked up. It's Darius Leonard. Leonard with a second INT, and he's streaking down the near sideline. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He's going to go. A pick six for the Maniac.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bring the Juice podcast. Now, if you haven't already seen by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about Dak Prescott and the possibility of the Colts signing him in 2021. Now, before you go off and not talk about this video, or you click off of it and say, Derek, you're wasting your time, you don't know what you're talking about, or Dak's just going to stay with the Dallas Cowboys, give me a minute and let me just kind of talk about it, and we'll see how you feel at the end of it, because it is a realistic possibility. It can happen, okay? So, as we saw from on July 15th, that the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott did not reach a long-term deal this offseason, and Dak Prescott is going to go into the 2020 season with under the franchise tag with a fully guaranteed $31.5 million. It was reported by the NFL that Dak Prescott actually wanted to sign the Cowboys' most recent offer, which was at around 33 to 35 million per year, somewhere in that category. And he said he was going to have 110 million guaranteed. So odds are it was a 5-year deal from what it sounded like. So ultimately, now you have the issue of, does Dak actually want to stay with the team going forward? Because we saw that Jerry Jones does not want to give Dak Prescott the money that Dak thinks he is worth. So it makes you wonder, what is Dak's intentions? What do the Colts, or what do the Cowboys do from there? Well, the Colts, here's the one reason why I think the Colts could make this work, okay? They have already said this offseason that they're not really, they're open to anything at the quarterback position right now, right? The Colts have no long-term plan when it comes to having a quarterback for the future. They know Phillip Rivers is going to be there in 2020, but we don't know if he's going to be there for 2021. We don't know if Jacob Eason's going to be the future of the franchise or not. And obviously, they don't have as much faith in Jacoby Brissett as some might think. So ultimately, the Colts said they're going to keep their minds open. They're going to be ready for anything that could potentially happen, right? Well, I mean, that leaves the door open for any possibility that a quarterback comes around and the Colts could sign somebody. And Dak Prescott hitting the free agent market in 2021 could be a thing that to look out for, because the Colts could make that offer. So another thing we want to worry about is the cap space, right? Well, the cap has never really been a huge issue for the Indianapolis Colts these last few years. You know, I know they're going to have to pay guys like, they're going to have to pay Quentin Nelson. They're going to have to pay Darius Leonard. They're going to have to pay a couple guys this next offseason, or maybe a year down the road. So, yeah, cap is going to become a little bit more tight for the Colts in future years. And since they already have a big deal being put into place for DeForest Buckner, but that is still doable. It is still doable to give Quentin Nelson and Darius Leonard good contracts and still be able to afford Dak Prescott if Dak Prescott's willing to come here for around 30 to 32 million a year. We may not be able to get him for that price tag. I get it, but Chris Ballard could make a move to make that even higher. And who knows how Dak Prescott does with this next year. That will impact his performance and what he could potentially ask for the Indianapolis Colts and from other teams going forward. Now, second reason I think that they can make this work is ultimately Dak Prescott is going to have the same things here in Indianapolis, most of them, than what he's had in Dallas for a lot of the time. I think that he's ultimately going to have a really good offensive line. He would have one of the best offensive lines in football. He's had a good offensive line in Dallas since he's come into the league. He's going to have a good rushing attack. He's had that with Zeke, and we know how Zeke has helped Dak with his numbers and being able to space things out. So there's that. And then you definitely have some up-and-coming wide receivers for the Indianapolis Colts. They may not have an Amari Cooper. I mean, I would say T.Y. Hilton is still a very good receiver. Even after this year, I still think he can be a good caliber player that is good for a guy like Dak Prescott. He's got a lot of tight ends he can work with. And again, he's going to have a defense that is going to continue to get better. And it's right there next to where the Dallas Cowboys defense is. So this team is practically built almost the same way as the Dallas Cowboys are now. And that's why I think that Dak Prescott might consider going to Indianapolis, because we resemble the Dallas Cowboys a lot in the way our team is structured. And another reason why I think that the Colts could make a move is I think that it's all about coaching and about the direction of the franchise. I think that's a lot of what to do with it, because I don't think Dak Prescott likes Jerry Jones right now with having him hold out for so long. Who knows how Mike McCarthy's going to do for him? Who knows? I mean, Mike McCarthy couldn't do a whole lot with Aaron Rodgers for many, many years, or at least couldn't get him to the promised land with one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen. So how is he going to do with Dak Prescott? You could move Dak Prescott to a franchise like the Indianapolis Colts with Frank Reich, an offensive-minded coach, and Chris Ballard, who is one of the most respected GMs in all of football, Jim Irsay, who's a very good owner. Ultimately, guys, I think that this could be a good option for the Indianapolis Colts. Do I think they'll do it? I don't think so. Is it an option that I would consider? Yes, I would. Now, given all the flack that I've given Dak Prescott over the years, okay, I understand that, I gave him a lot of crap, but I still think he's a top 10 quarterback. He absolutely, okay, let me rephrase that. He is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now when you base it off his numbers. And I'll kind of break down some of the numbers for you. His worst season was in 2017, the year where he didn't have Ezekiel Elliott for a lot of it. And, he had an average NFL season, 3,300 yards, 22 touchdowns and 13 interceptions with a QBR of, a 86.6. So he had an average season. His rookie season, he had a really good season. In the last 2 years, in 2018 and 2019, has again been a very good quarterback. He's not been an elite quarterback, but he's been a very good quarterback. He's been reliable. He's been around. That's why I think it would definitely be a good option for the Colts, because again, I think with coaching and the right offensive scheme and the players you can get around him, I think Dak Prescott makes a lot of sense for the Indianapolis Colts and what they're trying to do. And I'm not even worried about what people say, where is he in clutch time? I think a lot of times that has to do with coaching and putting your guys in the right position to win. I think the Indianapolis Colts locker room is a much better situation for Dak Prescott to find himself in, for his leadership and for his overall tenacity to want to play more and play better for the team. He'll find that better in Indianapolis than he will in Dallas. I think ultimately the locker room is better. I think everything else is better for Dak Prescott in Indianapolis than what they would do with the Dallas Cowboys this upcoming season. So, yes, I am kind of rooting for the Colts to potentially go after Dak Prescott in free agency next year, if that's where he goes into. If he does end up becoming a free agent, I know there's a lot of teams that are going to be calling. How many of them are going to give him a price tag that he wants? Who knows? Who knows how many guys are actually going to pay him what he wants, right? But you can't deny he's a top 10 quarterback. He plays the game pretty well. He does the right things. Say what you want about his stat padding. Yeah, geez. Doing that, or, and his inability to complete in games, late in the games on, big plays. But again, I think with the offensive coaching from Indianapolis and what that locker room can do for him, I think Dak Prescott can find himself a much better situation here in Indianapolis versus other teams. I kind of hope that the Colts go calling for him, and we'll see what happens in 2021. But that's going to do it for this podcast, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. And as always, go Colts.